What's good, man? What's good, man? This is E Sip and Chat Podcast with one and only host, Glory Boy. Know what I mean? And today is a special day. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I came across this interview and I know, y'all all know one of the most, like, was it like last month, like the whole month straight or 2 months straight, like the most watched person on the internet was Andrew Tate. And Andrew Tate recently, basically, with the internet and everything, social media platforms, they all came together and just decided to ban him. All of his account was banned, and the reason why is because some people thought he was just preaching like wrong message to the youth, and not just the youth, but also just men in general, like teaching men this and that, and everybody got their own opinions on towards Andrew Tate, and I'm not gonna be here to just be like, oh, you can't say this, you can't say that, because there's things that he says, and I be like, oh, you know, you right, and there's things that he said, I'm like, yo, calm down, bro, you know. So everybody have their own opinions, and nobody forces you to believe Andrew Tate. And also, if you listen carefully, I'm not trying to pick sides. I'm not trying to pick sides at all. But if you listen carefully, there's things that he will say that will kind of make us think a little bit deeper and like into this generation, like how things have changed, you know. So today I'm gonna be reacting. As you can see already, I've already pulled up the interview. So it's just a short interview, preview that I saw of Andrew Tate and him and also Piers Morgan, just going at it. You know, it was I found this. I saw some highlights on it, and I was like, you know what, I gotta react to this. And basically, it's time to react to it, and I want to react to it with you guys too. You know what I mean? I want to react with you all, just like. And if you do have anything to say, comment down below, and don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe after this video. All right, so let's go straight into it. 1 second here.
Man you probably never heard of, but the chances are your children will have. Videos of Tate have been viewed billions of times online. He's got an enormous following, and mostly young men, and his often scandalous views about women that have made him notorious across the world. Views like this.
So I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false?
Tate's opinions on mental illness are equally controversial.
I don't believe in depression. Don't message me about depression because I don't believe in it. If you're asleep in your bed in the middle of the night and you hear a noise and you believe in ghosts, now you're afraid, but you don't believe in ghosts.
Alright, so before this, I like the fact that they're actually showing exactly what he said instead of just like make up stuff. Because sometimes the internet will make up stuff and try to like, step on somebody's name and stuff. Like. So the best thing they're doing is that they're actually showing him talking instead of trying to like make up stories, make up this and that. Oh, Andrew Tate said this and that. All right, let's get straight back into it.
Dodge the wind and you go back to sleep. You give the ghosts power by believing in them.
Well, this summer, every major social media platform banned Tate amid a global backlash and concerns about his influence on the young people who watch him. But copies of his videos are still shared millions of times every day. This show is called Uncensored. One of the challenges views directly, so he flew from Romania to sit here in this studio, and the full explosive interview airs later this week. Here's a bit of what's to come. Do you respect women?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Do you think that 18, 19-year-old women are more attractive than 25-year-old women?
I think there's attractive people. That's a loaded question. I don't know.
Well, it's not really, is it?
I can't.
You know why I'm asking you?
Of course I do, but I can't sit here and
for
say.
the benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this. In general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to block the internet? I'll block the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That is misogyny.
Why?
Because you are encouraging a mindset about 25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19-year-olds, and having effectively been having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
Well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
But what did you mean by what you said?
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or a 19-year-old woman would be more desirable.
Pretty anti-25-year-old women.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny.
No, it's not.
Well, being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Not when I'm saying that women are beautiful and attractive at a certain age and saying the age.
You're saying 18, 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25.
Well, then ageist perhaps, but misogynistic absolutely not.
But you just accepted it was misogyny.
I feel like this is gonna be a nice heated conversation, heated argument, let's say that. But also, as an interviewer, basically you have to ask one question at a time. I'm not trying to pick sides, like I said, but if you're interviewing people, just anyone in general, doesn't matter if you're interviewing your enemy on your platform, you have to be kind of like respectful, because a lot of people usually come on that show to pay attention to your guests, and they want to hear what your guest has to say, how they're going to defend themselves. So just ask them like the questions you have to ask them, so that way they'll be more likely to answer the question in a more detailed way, so that way, they could get whatever they have to get off their chest. Let's get back into it.
You said it was misogyny. I'm telling you, no, it's not.
If a 26-year-old woman is watching this and has heard those comments, would you just say to her, look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that?
No, I won't. I will say that I am sorry that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world that believe that, and I was mediating for a conversation.
Parts of the world that believe that about 26-year-old women are parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That's a conversation.
They have to wear full burqas.
Well, that's a conversation.
They're not allowed to drive cars.
That's nothing to do with it.
But is that the kind of world for women that you?
I was mediating a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I don't live in a country where that happens.
You're using that as the.
But yeah, I mean, Piers has to understand, like, Andrew Tate, he does not live in the country where that goes on. So basically, I feel like he's speaking based on what he sees within the country that he lives in. You know what I mean? So, and also, yes, as a person, as an influencer, as a person with a large audience, you have to watch what you have to say. But we got on this, like, in 2022, we have to understand that, because in 2022 you could lose a lot just because of words. We've seen so many people get canceled just because words will slip out of like their mouth, and boom, there's people that will be very much offended by it. And it's just today's generation, there's a lot of people that don't really take things how the previous generations used to take it. So we gotta watch what we say on the internet.
It's for why you're not sorry for saying it.
It's not an excuse.
Is that there are parts of the world where this is fine. So my question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where
You don't think it's fine?
the reason
This isn't that hard, Andrew. You can simply say, Piers, you know what? With the benefit of hindsight, I wish I hadn't said it like that. And if a 26-year-old woman's watching, I'm sorry I said that, because that actually is blatantly misogynist. And even though that's a view held by other parts of the world, it's not a view I share. Now, I would respect you more if you said that than if you try and say, well, it's said in other parts of the world, so I'm not sorry.
I think
that doesn't tell me what you think.
Then you need to understand why my content existed in the first place. My content existed because I tried my very hardest to be an absolute and utter realist, especially with uncomfortable truths. I was pointing out that very uncomfortable.
Is that a truth?
It's an uncomfortable truth in many parts of the world. It's not a truth that I'm happy about.
An inquest this week found that a 14-year-old girl, Molly Russell, died from an act of self-harm while suffering from
Man,
depression
that's sad.
and the negative effects of online content. The coroner said she was exposed to material that may have influenced her in a negative way, and in addition, what started as depression had become a much more serious depressive illness, and she very sadly took her life.
That's absolutely disgusting.
Right.
Yo, depression is real, man. A lot of people. Okay, so where I'm from, a lot of people don't usually take depression very, very much seriously. And as for the speaking for the African community, because I'm African myself, we should basically pay attention to those things. Mental health is serious. People die from it, and people kill themselves. People do whatever, but like we have to be careful, man. We have to also be aware of how a person is feeling, because mental health is very serious. If a person is showing you, is giving you hints, like certain hints, like, oh, I need help, this and that, or trying to get closer to you as a way to escape that danger from them becoming like in one bubble by themselves, and they just want somebody next to them that can keep them like comfort, someone that can advise them, this and that. Like, I feel like with the African community, man, we should take mental health serious. Let's be there for each other, man. We don't want people dying just because, just on our lookout. Like, we don't want people dying just like that. You know what I mean? So let's get back into it, and R.I.P. To Molly, and my condolences to your family.
A father's campaign for better protections against potentially dangerous social media algorithms, right? It says that the particularly graphic content she saw romanticized acts of self-harm, normalized her condition, and focused on a limited and irrational view without any counterbalance of normality. First of all, what is your response to that? Nothing to do with you.
That's the first thing. Yeah, it is nothing to do with me. The fact that a 14-year-old girl took her life is truly sad. The world we live in today is... The fact that something like that happened is almost mind-blowing to me. That's truly sad. I actually feel sad inside to see something like that.
What has come clear to me in the interview is that a lot of things you say you wouldn't say now that you've said before.
I'd say them differently, perhaps.
Yeah, right. So, to me...
Bro, let him talk, bro. We want to hear him talk. I know you ask him. Your job is just to ask him questions, and that's very important. We want to hear some good questions coming out of you, and we want to hear some more detailed answer coming from Tate. It's very important for that. Like, as an interviewer, you have to ask your question and then just sit back and listen up, because as the audience, we don't want to hear people's voices just going, that's not very professional. So yeah, let's keep that going.
It's an acceptance. Not just that you want to get back on platforms, because maybe that was one of the reasons you were no platform, but that you've recognized and understood the potential harm to the wrong kind of impressionable mind by some of the things you've said. Would that be fair?
I think that's 80% fair. I recognize and understand that with massive fame, you have to be more careful about being misconstrued. Like I said earlier, 1% of people misunderstanding you doesn't matter with a small audience. It matters with a very large audience. With power comes responsibility. I still believe the things I say. I do not want to be a negative force for the world. I also understand that I am a man who's lived a very difficult, nuanced life, and I am capable of making nuanced points that may be misunderstood by teenagers. However, that can be said about anybody and everything. Every opinion online can be misunderstood by children. Trying to protect children from the internet is a very interesting subject in and of itself.
Yo, to be honest, there has people that have said the worst things. But I get it. Maybe it's because Andrew was getting too far. Like, this man, he reads too much books, so like he was getting too far to a point where, like, instead of talking about men and women, he started getting to like some other different topics. And I feel like that's when like the major platform was just like, you know what, we gotta cut him short, because he had a lot of people following him, a lot of guys, a lot of people like him losing his Instagram, Facebook, I believe Twitter, YouTube, that's mad money. And I know maybe he's not worried about it, but like if that's if basically he was getting most of his money from there, and that's the money that he uses to feed his family, man, that would be very very sad for him. Cause man, that's crazy.
Because I would argue that 80% of the content on the internet can be negative or detrimental to a young mind that doesn't understand the world.
But yeah, man. I just wanted to watch this video with you guys and just react to it, cause I feel like in this world everybody has the right to express their own opinions, And me as a person who studied and majored, I did. My second major was women and gender studies. I feel like in today's generation, I mean, things that Andrew Tate was saying basically related to those people back then, where women were more likely to stay at home, men were more likely to be just breadwinners, And in today's society, a lot of women are very much independent, as they say, to a point where like they want to go out and work for themselves, they want to do this for themselves. Men can do whatever they want to do, women want to do whatever they want to do. So it came to that point where like I can say a lot of people got offended by the things he was saying, based on maybe because he's old enough, he was in that era where men were breadwinners, men were more likely considered more superior than women, So I feel like with the things that he was saying, kind of related to his generation, but with this generation today, those things doesn't really like relate to this generation. So we gotta watch what we say on the internet, and it's very important that basically he was able to sit down and speak for himself, because I've seen a couple interviews where he sit down with different other networks, other people that have YouTube, and just express his opinions on basically why he said what he said, and he seemed very defensive, like he don't even want to say sorry. So come on, that's crazy. But yeah, man, this is East Sip and Chop podcast, man. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all the love and support. If you did get this far to the video, if you did get this far, please go ahead and just hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the like button, and also comment your opinion below. Do you think Andrew Tate is right for what he said in the past or not? So yeah, thank you so much, and y'all have a wonderful day, wonderful night. Yeah, peace out.